Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, photo by Mitchell Leff, Getty Images. There's only 10 games separating the Philadelphia 76ers and the postseason. With the Sixers have the best starting five in the Eastern Conference and the second best in the NBA, the franchise has a chance to earn the NBA title. Theorizing a potential title run with this club would be an exciting process before the season ends. This potential playoff run is based on current standings, which has the Sixers at the third seed. First round, Detroit Pistons season series, 3-1 Philadelphia 76ers. With an easy schedule, it appears the Sixers are more than likely going to be locked into the third spot in the East. That would have them matched up against the Detroit Pistons, who they had an advantage over for the season. The biggest headline going into this playoff series would be the matchup at the center position between the Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond. Embiid has dominated in the 6 matchups he's played against Drummond in his career. Outside of Embiid owning Drummond, for this season, the Sixers have beat the Pistons 3 out of 4 times. Embiid should be able to get his numbers with a season average of 32.0 points, 12.0 rebounds and 2.3 blocks. In those 4 matchups, Philly has averaged 118.5 points to Detroit's 111.3 points. What's even better, this post-trade deadline roster that has added a 4th All-Star level player in Tobias Harris, hasn't gone against Detroit. However, when he did face the Pistons as a member of the Los Angeles Clippers, Harris struggled to score. He only averaged 9.0 points against the Pistons this season. He will need to step that up in order for the Sixers win the series. With Harris, along with Ben Simmons, Philly has 2 players that should be able to defend the Pistons All-Star Blake Griffin. With only Griffin being able to defend Simmons or Harris, one of them is bound to go off. Simmons is averaging 15.0 points, 9.3 rebounds and 6.0 assists, so it's a safe bet that he will be the one that's most likely to have bigger games against the Detroit Pistons in the postseason. Related story: read now. Greater than Jimmy Butler is the only player outside of Embiid that has led the Sixers in scoring against the Pistons this season. Granted, Embiid was out that game, Butler still finished the game with 38 points. If Butler can become a secondary scorer behind Embiid, this series shouldn't be that hard for the 76ers to finish up relatively quickly. Based on how Embiid dominates against Drummond and the Pistons, as well as the Sixers' overall record against Detroit this season and the addition of Harris, Philly shouldn't struggle too much getting out of the first round. However, expect Detroit to squeeze out at least one home win during the series. Result: Sixers win series 4-1. Page 2. Philadelphia 76ers, Ben Simmons, photo by Mitchell Leff, Getty Images. Season series, 1-3 Toronto Raptors. After getting past the Pistons, the Philadelphia 76ers will most likely face the Toronto Raptors. As of now, the Raptors are set to face the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn is a young and scrappy team that should push the Raptors to 5 or 6 games in the first round, but they aren't talented enough to upset the second seed in the East. This won't be an easy matchup for the Sixers. Besides having the best two-way player in the NBA with Kawhi Leonard, the Raptors are deep. Kyle Lowry is still one of the better point guard in the league, with Jeremy Lin backing him up. The duo of Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol should give Embiid trouble at the center spot. This isn't including the second-year power forward Pascal Siakam, who has impressed this season. This current incarnation of the Sixers with their 4 All-Star level players haven't faced the Raptors this season, but it doesn't excuse the Sixers losing in 3 out of 4 matchups in the regular season. The one win came when Leonard wasn't playing. However, there's hope for the Sixers in this round. In 4 matchups, there's only a 3.7-point difference in scoring between the two teams, with Toronto being the higher-scoring club. It should be noted that whichever team won, they won by double digits in all 4 games. This series can be easily decided by which team is hotter entering into it, which, based on matchups, will most likely be the Sixers with the easier first-round opponent. Simmons will be the X-factor in this series against Toronto. In the regular season, he's averaged 6.3 turnovers in 4 games. That will have to change if the Sixers are going to have a chance against the Raptors. Another important factor will be how Embiid handles going against Gasol and Ibaka for a series. Both are very good defense centers that can attack an offensive player in different ways. Ibaka is more athletic, whereas Gasol is a strong player that can be more physical. Both should give Embiid problems on offense and defense. On the season, Embiid's averaged 26.3 points, 11.8 rebounds and 1.8 blocks per game, so hopefully the duo won't slow him down too much. The Sixers will need a full all-around effort from their roster for them to pull off being the second seed in the East. With the addition of Harris, it may just be enough for the Sixers to squeeze past the Raptors in a 7-game series. Result: Sixers win 4-3 games next. Eastern Conference Finals. Page 3. Jimmy Butler, Philadelphia 76ers. Photo by Jesse D. Gar Abrant, NBA via Getty Images. Season series, 1-3 Boston Celtics. If the Milwaukee Bucks were healthy, they would have been meeting the Philadelphia 76ers at the East Finals instead of the Celtics. However, the 6-8 timeline for the injured Malcolm Brogdon's return makes it more than likely that the Bucks would fall to the Celtics in the second round. The loss of Brogdon take the Bucks out of contention of the East. This is under the assumption that the Celtics beat the Indian Pacers and the Bucks beat the Miami Heat in the first round, based on current standings. The Celtics would be heavy favorites going into the conference finals. Unlike a potential Philly vs. Toronto series, a Boston and Milwaukee second-round series shouldn't go a full 7 games. The 76ers would most likely be exhausted and the Celtics would be more rested. Everything would be pointed to a Celtics victory. They won the first 3 of the matchups against the Sixers this season and have outscored the Sixers in the season series by 6.3 points per game. On top of all of that, the 76ers just don't match up well against the Celtics. The Sixers have no one who can defend point guard Kyrie Irving or his backup Terry Rozier on the perimeter well. Al Horford can take Embiid away from the basket and the Celtics' worst defense player, Marcus Smart, can take advantage of J.J. Redick in the post. The Celtics may not be as top-heavy as the Sixers, but they are deeper with the like of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward as option on top of the players already mentioned. There's hope for the Sixers to win this, despite the odds being against them. They will have home court advantage to start with, but there are several things that Philly's head coach, Brett Brown, will have to adjust against the Celtics. Defensively, switching on defense will have the stop. Boston is too well coached by Brad Stevens and will expose Redick on defense. The Sixers will have to start fighting through screens by going over top of them and turn the Celtics into a 2-point shooting team. They can't allow the Celtics to get hot from downtown, so the Sixers will have to fight through screens while also protecting Redick and reserve point guard T.J. McConnell more defensively, because they won't be exposed on mismatches. Forcing the drive will also allow Embiid to be more effective as a rim protector. Simmons will have to play center when Embiid is resting. Boban Marjanovic is too slow and the Celtics can take advantage of that. Jonah Bolden is still too raw to make a positive impact in the conference finals. Simmons can handle the 2 reserve centers that Boston can throw at him. Simmons will have to function more as a power forward than a point guard in the starting 5 during this series as well. Him working the baseline will hide his lack of a jump shot and allow room for Butler, Harris and Embiid to attack. If the Celtics collapse any of those players, then they can drop it off to Simmons for a dunk or layup. With Simmons closer to the basket, the Sixers will need Butler and Harris to become playmakers, which they can be. Countdown until beginning of NBA playoffs. 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on April 13, 2019. In the Sixers' lone and most recent win against the Celtics, Embiid led the way for the Sixers for most of the game with Butler being clutch in the fourth quarter. This is the way the Sixers have to play. When Embiid is physical, not even Horford can defend him. Embiid can dominate against the Celtics. His 37 points and 22 rebounds proved that in the most recent game against Boston. Butler is the best one-on-one perimeter player offensively the Sixers have. He's the best at creating space and getting his shot off. Playing through him and Embiid will be a must if the Sixers want to advance to the NBA Finals. With roles for Embiid, Butler and Simmons defined, the roles for Redick, Harris, Mike Scott and James Ennis will be simple: hit three-pointers and play defense. If they can space the floor, it will make life simpler for trio of Embiid, Simmons and Butler. McConnell just needs to compete defensively and fight on both ends during every possession. If the Sixers do that, as well as get a couple of surprise big games from Harris, which he's more than capable of doing, then they might pull off the upset. A lot of things have to go right for Philly to beat Boston in a 7-game series, but now they know they can beat the Celtics, which is the confidence boost they need to make it to the NBA Finals. Result: Sixers win 4-3. Page 4. Philadelphia 76ers. Photo by Noah Graham. NBA via Getty Images. Season Series 1-1. Despite the Western Conference having several teams that have the roster that could make it to the NBA Finals, there's one clear-cut favorite. The Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets and even the Denver Nuggets have elite talent. However, until proven otherwise, the Golden State Warriors should be the favorites to come out of the West. The Sixers may have the second-best roster in the NBA, but the Warriors have the best. They have 5 all-star level players. Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant are MVP-level players. Klay Thompson is arguably the third-best shooter behind his 2 elite teammates in the whole NBA. Draymond Green is still an elite defensive player and DeMarcus Cousins may not his old self yet, but he can still tap into what made him a top center in the NBA. Despite this, the Sixers' matchup against the Warriors went surprisingly well. They split the 2-game series with the Warriors and actually outscored the Warriors by an average of 3.0 points. It should be noted that Thompson didn't play in either game. However, the Warriors haven't played against the current incarnation of the Sixers with Embiid. More from the Sixers: since he assumed both teams are fully healthy, this will be a great matchup. The big man battle between Embiid and Cousins will be epic. Outside of Cousins and maybe Andrew Bogut, there's no centers that the Warriors have that can cause Embiid problems. He should be able to take advantage of Golden State easily enough. Simmons seems to play way better against the Warriors, averaging 25.5 points, 11.5 rebounds and 8.5 assists. The only area he needs to improve on is his turnovers, where he's averaged 6.5 in 2 games against Golden State this season. Cutting down on those turnovers will give the Warriors less chances to run in transition. Butler will also have to step up his game in the finals. Against the Warriors, he has only averaged 16.3 points on 35.3% shooting from the field and 11.1% from downtown. That will have to change if the Sixers are to have a shot at an NBA title. He's the Sixers closer and he's going to need to improve his output to help the Sixers win some games. Defensively, like with the Celtics, the Sixers will have to get the Warriors off the three-point line. That means playing tight man-to-man, hard closeouts and being willing to live with long two-pointers and drives to the lane. If Brown can hide Redick and McConnell on defense, the Sixers will be solid. However, unlike with the Celtics, switching defensively will be the best option against the Warriors. Each game would be a battle between the 2 star-filled teams. It wouldn't be a quick series, but the Sixers will have a puncher's chance to take out the Warriors if they reach the finals. It would a full 7 games if Philly were to dethrone Golden State as champions. Result: Sixers win NBA title 4-3. Next, can Sixers legend Jones make the Hall of Fame on defense? A hypothetical run to an NBA championship would be a very hard and long one for the Philadelphia 76ers. At this point, it's unknown how deep they could get in the postseason, but it's at least interesting what a potential run would look like.